Okay, in this lesson we're going to start on page 208, and if you're looking at the book, you can see that we're going to create this project that looks like a hand wheel. Now this is a bit involved, but we're going to take it step by step. We're going to break this up into multiple videos, but at the end you're still only going to hand in this one completed project. So we're going to do a series of revolves, and we're also going to look into to make this part we have to do what's called a multi-body solid. Means we're going to create two or more independent solids, and then we're going to connect them together to make one overall part. We're also going to, this will be the first time we're also going to use what is called a sweep feature. And a sweep feature is something that we extrude, but we're going to use two sketches. One sketch is going to define the cross section, like if you took a knife and cut something in half and then looked down the middle, so the shape of it, and then the other sketch is going to be the direction or the path that we're going to extrude this shape along. At the end, we're going to do a little bit of FEA, which is called finite element analysis, and we're going to do a stress test on this. And again, it's one of the aspects or features that SOLIDWORKS has that makes it a really very powerful software. All right, so let's get started, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up a new sketch using the metric template that we had created. All right, as soon as you get this sketch created, what I like to do, and I know I covered this in the beginning, is go ahead and save it right away. You might have the auto feature and save enabled, and that will help. But it also helps, when we want to save things along the way. And I've learned the hard way. I've lost drawings because I didn't save them, or the computer crashes. And we're just going to call this hand wheel. And then now along the way to save it, all we need to do is just keep clicking the save button. All right, once we've got that done, let's go ahead and we're going to create a sketch on the right plane. And we're going to do a revolve, but we're going to do this a little bit differently in that we are going to use a rectangle. And I'm going to start here with the origin, and I'm just going to drag this out like this. And we still need something to revolve about or around, and what I can do is this vertical line, I can click on it, and I'm going to make this under here, under options, I'm going to make this for construction, and you can see that now it changed it to a dashed and a dotted line, and so that won't be included in an extrude, but what that will do is it gives us a reference line to rotate this other the sketch around it. So I can click the green check mark for now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use an arc. And this time we're going to use a 3-point arc. We've got 3 different arcs to choose from, but we're going to use a 3-point arc. And with this, if I click on this line first and then click on the line again, now for the third point I can either drag it this way or I can drag it this way, depending on where I want it. I want it this way, so we'll click there. We'll click OK. We haven't added any dimensions yet. And now I'm going to come up here to trim entities, and we're going to trim this line out. And we're going to click OK. So one thing with revolves is, in addition to having a reference line or edge to revolve around, we have to make sure that the sketch does not cross that center line, because then we're going to get an error when that revolves around that line. So let's put some dimensions on this. And if I click this line and then I want to go to the edge of that arc, I don't know if I'm getting it or not. And then so what we can do to ensure that we get the very outer point of that arc is I can hit the shift key, hold the shift key down, and then select that arc. And now no matter where I click on that arc, I'm getting its dimension it to the outside. Okay. And we're going to put that at 4 millimeters. All right, let's put the other dimensions on, and they're shown on page 211. But we've got an overall length here. Oops. 45 millimeters. We've got a length from the top to the start of this arc. Oops, picked up the center line. So let's do from here to here. And that's 10 millimeters. We've got from the start of the arc to the end of the arc, that's going to be 16 millimeters. And you can see it's not fully defined yet because we need to define the distance of this line from the center line, which would be our radius of this cylindrical piece that we're going to revolve. Now we can make this radial dimension or diametrical. And so if I click on the center line here and I click on the edge here, this vertical line, if I keep my cursor on this side of the center line, the left side, I'm going to get a radial dimension. If I drag it over to this other side of the center line, I'm going to get a diameter. And so we want a diameter of 25 millimeters. So we'll put that in there. And now we're able to go revolve this. But we're going to get an error, and I'll show you why. So if we go into Feature and we revolve Boss Base, it's basically the sketch is currently open. And so what that means is because we use a construction line here, it doesn't, that construction line is used for reference, and it's not actually a usable part of the sketch to create that feature. And so what we could have done is, like in that example revolve that I did, we could have put a center line down here and then used an actual line here. But we can also just say, do we want this to automatically close? We'll say yes, and it will do it for us. There's our first revolve. We're going to click OK. And you can see the shape that it revolved around that center line. We're going to go ahead and we're going to rename this, and we're going to call this Hub. We'll stop that video here, and then we will pick up with the next video.